Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rapid Fire Q&A. I am your host, Scotty Milas, and of course, I have the remarkable president of Market Momentum with me today again, Wendi Hill. Wendi, welcome. For those of you joining us for the first time, Rapid Fire Q&A is a quick 15-minute session of questions, usually around 15 minutes, maybe a little less, give or take, of questions that have come in through social media, websites, conversations over the last 30 days, because we try to do these once a month, although we do take a break during the summer. I am the founder of also All Things Considered Franchising, a podcast. So go visit any of your local or favorite podcast sites. Listen to our site. You can check it out. Wendi helps administrate that and puts it all together. And if you'd like to be a guest on All Things Considered Franchising, feel free to reach out to me directly or Wendi. You can find Wendi Hill, Wendi Hill on LinkedIn. Message her there. I am also the founder of Scotty Milas FranchiseCoach.com, a consulting organization that helps people research business ownership, providing education and guidance at no cost to them. And that's about it. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Wendi. Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
I can't believe it.
It's summertime. It just seems like I was speaking to a lot of people about 3-4 months ago and how cold they were. So now it's we're all getting ready for the warm weather. But Wendi, welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you. And it is definitely not cold in South Carolina. Let me turn that off. It's nuts. So we have 7 questions today. And if you're ready, we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, let's get going.
Okay, number 1, how do I know if franchise ownership is a better fit for me than remaining in corporate?
Well, I think the big step, and at least in the dialogue that I have with my clients, is that the roadblock, believe it or not, is usually fear. That's the fear that prevents people. Fear is usually something that prevents people from doing this. There are a lot of things that we have to consider if you're going to be leaving corporate to start a business, or are we looking to potentially open a business while still employed in corporate? There are options for that as semi-absentee. I also believe that a lot of that particular question is going to be answered through validation, due diligence, in talking with existing franchisees in the system. But I think a lot of people get concerned about that, and it's based and it's really based more on fear than anything else. So I think if we can get and concentrate on getting past the fear and focus on the validation to that part, I think people will find that and they think about the second year, third year, fourth year as they're building, and not the initial, oh my God, I'm going to leave corporate and own a business. They'll get past the fear.
Okay, great. Number 2, what types of franchises best suit semi-absentee ownership?
And I know we have talked about semi-absentee a number of times on this show, and of course we talk about it on the podcast, or have talked about it on the podcasts. Semi-absentee is a very is a very misleading category in franchising. I don't know if I'm saying that right, misleading, but we have to be very careful with that, because you don't want to invest $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 into a semi-absentee business and just turn the keys over to somebody. Right. There are some businesses that are going to require you to still be involved in the business 15, 20 hours a week to provide oversight. And there are also franchises that are going to require you to hire a GM and have them go through the process with you. So we really have to look at this closely. But I always look at retail being a little bit easier on the semi-absentee side, because there may not be an urgency to get down to the store. You may have some flexibility in your time. Service-based businesses, whether B2B, B2C, that's really where this semi-absentee, we really have to take a close look at what's going on. Right. But if you're somebody that is working remotely and does not have 15 to 20 hours a week where you could provide oversight to a manager in a service-based business, semi-absentee is not going to be for you. And then there are passive models as well that are 5 to 10 hours a week, or an hour a week. So they tend to be a little bit higher. So we really have to take a closer look at this. And most brands have their own definition of what they'll accept as semi-absentee. So
Right.
hopefully
So,
that answers.
well, some people that are saying semi-absentee may be really thinking passive. So it's good that you asked that.
Yes. Yeah. It's, but again, you just don't want to invest and then all of a sudden feel like you have to turn the keys over, especially somebody you don't know.
Right.
And the issue is that if that person decides to leave,
You're back
what are
in.
you going to do? There's got to be a plan. You got to have a backup plan, a management plan.
Right. Right. Okay. Number 3, what does your process look like from our first conversation to selecting a franchise?
Well, let's establish the process is really an education. We're not here to sell you a franchise. I'm not here to sell you a franchise. My role in this is really to help you get a better understanding of how your skill sets can transfer into business ownership. So that's really our first focus. And of course, the big question is the why. Why do we want to consider business ownership? So once we establish that kind of criteria, we start building the model, the roadmap. Work-life balance. What are you looking for? Your end game. What's your why? How do your skill sets transfer into certain businesses? If you're a person who's uncomfortable with what I consider to be kind of that sales aptitude, now I'm not talking about Willie Loman, the death of a salesman, where you're
Right.
dialing for dollars, but if you're uncomfortable meeting with people, networking, you don't want to be in a service-based business because,
Right.
so you got to look at retail. So to answer the question, the initial dialogue is establishing the why and then building the model and understanding how your skill sets can transfer into business ownership.
Okay. Very good. Next one, talking about personality traits. What personality traits make someone more successful as an owner operator versus a semi-absentee owner, or maybe even a passive owner?
It's an interesting question because I don't think that there are any differences. I think it's more or less in the skill sets and the circumstances that you want to become a business owner.
Right.
There are people that feel that they're just not ready to, or too much fear, as we talked earlier, on
Right.
leaving corporate to start the business. I will tell you, ideally, if you can leave corporate and put 150% into your business, that's the best way to go.
Okay.
However, some people, we call them restraining forces. What are some of the restraining forces that won't allow you to do that? It may be financial. It may be family, a spouse, a significant other.
Right.
So you've really got to put yourself in a position to understand what your plan is if you're going to stay in corporate, how you're going to manage it, and then when are you leaving corporate, or are you going to leave corporate?
Right.
So that's the best way to approach this.
Okay. Good. How can franchise ownership provide greater flexibility and autonomy over your schedule? Many business owners, they just work constantly.
Uh, the successful business owner isn't someone who constantly works in the business. And what I mean by that is you're not painting the house, you're not making the pizza, you're not flipping the burger, you're not mowing the lawn, whatever it may be. What you're doing is you're learning how to delegate and manage the business.
Okay.
And as you do that, that's how you start creating your flexibility and work-life balance. You're absolutely right. There are people that go out there, and again, this is part of that consultative educational conversations that my clients and have. If you're the type of person that has to micromanage everything and do everything yourself, business ownership may not be for you,
Right.
because you're going to be so tied up in focusing on what you shouldn't be doing versus what you should be doing. And strong, successful business owners are the ones that know how to delegate and rely on their management team to run the day to day. And the owner focuses on delegating and building that business, networking, getting involved in the community, oversight. But if you're looking to clean the gutter, put the roof on, paint the house,
Right.
there are going to be some roadblocks to creating that work-life balance.
Those are wise words. Very good. Very good. All right. We have 2 questions left. Several years after buying a franchise, what do most owners say has changed most about their lives?
I think the fact that I would say the first big one is that a lot of my clients say, "Wow, I did it."
Right.
And I wish I had done this earlier, or I wish I had listened to you the first time. When I started the process and took a time out. It's getting past the fear, and they say, Scotty, you're absolutely right. What held me back the first time was the fear.
Right.
They also say, they're also kind of giving themselves a high five and patting themselves on the back. Yes, it was hard work. Yes, there was a lot of fear, but you know what? My life is better. I see my family. I see my kids. It's not all about financial. It's just how you feel about yourself.
Right.
If you do want to take a half a day off or a day off or a vacation, you don't have to fill out a form. You don't have to go walk into the corner office, give something to HR. It's yours. You're building it. A lot
Right.
of people don't realize in franchising that business is yours. You just have a partner that's helping you build the systems and the best practices to run that business.
Right.
So I think it's just that good feeling that people get.
Well, here's our last question. What do your most successful clients have in common?
Hard work.
Okay.
They understand the hard work. They understand the commitment, the need for the commitment. And most importantly, when you're getting involved in a franchise, understanding that the commitment is to the process, that they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They may get frustrated on a certain implementation that the brand does, or they're changing certain technology, but it's always for the better. But my clients who are successful, the ones that follow the process, have scaled and have not looked at this as buying a job, but looked
Right.
at building a business, and that's the success rate.
Very good. That's it. That's all the questions that came in for
All
this month.
right, great. Well, listen, everybody, go have a great Memorial Day weekend. Be
Wow.
safe. Happy summer. Wendi, best to you and your family. And
You too.
come visit us at allthingsconsideredfranchising.com, scottmilasfranchisecoach.com, and of course, theperfectfranchise.com. Until next time, this is Scotty Milas saying, hey, have a great Memorial Day weekend. Be safe, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Take care.